If the strains of America the Beautiful seem out of place in Brazil, remember it is an exceptionally beautiful country, and one that encompasses much more America than most may think. It looks like just another Civil War reenactment, just another observance of Southern heritage. Yet it goes on far below the Mason-Dixon line, where the roots of a familiar heritage lie firmly planted. When the guns of the Civil War were finally silenced in 1865, much of the South lay in desolation. Many who took up the Confederate cause sought any course to save families and fortunes near ruin, and some would find it led southward by ship through the Caribbean to the vast wilderness of Brazil, whose government offered cheap, fertile land to those willing to work it. Soon, a new land of cotton would emerge, and new generations would grow up in the Portuguese-speaking land, as a new bond would unite two continents and two cultures. From the tiny settlement of the 1860s, Villa Americana has emerged as a modern city, still prospering from a thriving textile industry and still honoring the heritage of Southerners from the North. At the Museum of Immigration, a visit offers even more familiar sights, showing how the Soldados Confederados assimilated with Brazilian society, and giving direct descendants like Wesley Vega a chance to see where their family's odyssey began.
This is also a picture from Charleston. This is the old circular Congregational Church on Meeting Street after the fire of 1861. Yeah, there it says right there, circular church.
The story of these soldiers of the South and their families may have been buried with them beneath forgotten gravestones, if not for the lifelong efforts of descendant Judith McKnight Jones.
I grew up hearing stories about the United States. And my mother never was there.
How many of those of you who are descendants of these people still speak English as well as you?
I don't know if it's as well.
Oh, yes it is. Gleaning information from century-old letters and compiling exhaustive lists of family histories, as well as tracing years of migrations, she quieted the ghosts of her ancestors with a book called Soldado Descansa, which means soldier rest.
More and more people are hearing about it, and they're curious. They want to know why and how. I think every country should know their history, why things happened, what they did. That's roots. You see, my roots are not Brazilian. They're Southerners.
For the Brazilians, this link to North American heritage is very much a source of pride, as in the municipal emblem of Americana that Mayor Frederico Mueller explained.
A reprodução da bandeira dos Confederados. And right here you can see the reproduction of the Confederacy flag.
¿Cómo se o nome? Other than the language difference, this part of America is not much different than ours, with a diversity of cultural backgrounds that we might see in the faces of the Lowcountry, as well as other migrating species that have at one time called South Carolina their home. Where this bastion of the Deep South takes a different direction is in the way people eat, drink, work, and get their exercise.
They call this river the Piracicaba, which means the place they catch fish. The interesting thing is, they don't even need to use their hands.
With fish fighting their way upstream to spawn, they pretty much catch themselves. But for the especially daring, it's more sporting to wade out into and under the swirling falls, where getting a bite takes on a whole new meaning. But even with all the fish, Brazilians prefer to eat meat, and lots of it, preferably on long skewers called churrasco.
We get what the bees don't get.
And if you want a buzz from something really sweet, you can get an açúcar de bebita straight from the cane on any sidewalk. Sugarcane dominates the landscape around Villa Americana, and the process of stripping the stalks of complex carbohydrates and separating them by centrifugal force into sugar crystals fuels more than just the job market. Because as factory owner Nelson Furlon explains, a major byproduct of sugar production is pure alcohol that much of Brazil depends on to run its automobile engines. If there is something old-fashioned dominating this area, it's the legacy of those who forged roots from another America so long ago. And with all its trappings of Civil War and Southern heritage, this part of Brazil is uniquely its own.